All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to our Ironsworn Starforged campaign, Crystalline Shadows. Um, so I have discovered something that apparently I am either blind or dumb or both. Because the last couple episodes I've been saying I don't know how to delete these progress bars. Well, that's because, as I found out a couple minutes ago, I just had the delete buttons toggled off. It's this little toggle up here in the corner. Gets rid of the delete buttons if you have it off. So I figured out how to delete the progress bars that we don't need anymore. Leave that one blank one. But this is what we have left. Let me. So I just wanted to check here. I think that progress bar is. This gives updates on all the progress bars and whatnot that we make. So I just want to make sure. When was the last time? Mark progress on our background bow. Doesn't look like it's been a while if this is the one. We did it when we like reached the precursor site. So I'm gonna mark another progress on that. Get us into our second box of progress on our background vow. Because I think, discovering an important site that was related to something that group was doing is bringing more information to light in the long run of their goals and whatnot. Oh, hang on. So now we've cleaned up that a little bit. Last time we finished our exploration of the vault that we had found on I want to make sure I get it right. On Valinor. Felicity is the settlement. So we're on this planet Valinor. I believe it's a vital world. It is a vital world. And Ash and Vander, after fighting a creature that was this weird, toothy, symmetrical, geometric spider thing, which we didn't have a name for. However, I did see some recommendations in the comment left on the last video, and I think I'm going to combine two of the names, kind of, and call it a stalking maw. I doubt we're ever going to see one again, but in case we do, maybe it'll come back up again. However, right now, Ash and Vander have subsequently left the vault behind, with a server full of pay data that has to be translated, and a couple of new toys to look at. So first off, just to give a bit of a look at their reactions, I think they're going to leave rather quickly, and like as soon as they get out of the outer I don't think there was an outer wall, but like the outer perimeter where they've put enough distance in the behind them to be safe. I think both of them are gonna take. Ash is gonna take off his helmet, and Vander gonna take off their breathing apparatus and just suck in a couple of lungfuls of hopefully clean air. If you recall in the previous episode, their filters failed pretty quickly once they got into the actual sanctum, where there was a whole bunch of dried fungal remnants, things like, I've been picturing like almost like an algae type thing, like you kind of get on the sides of your walls that are damp for too long and whatnot, and when they get dry they get flaky, especially if they're thick enough, because I've been picturing like a proper almost lichen like substance that was probably actually all over them, so they might even find like a stream or something to douse themselves in the water just to try and get some stuff cleaned off. Now, we did get a clean getaway, so I'm not gonna have, there won't be any consequences from that, but just to think about how they let that stress kind of crash over them. But we also had some problems. I don't think we saved anything. However, we did not save another faction. Oh, that reminds me, I never did make a factions sheet for my myself in my own personal games, because I do when I'm playing just for myself with games like this, I like to have paper sheets and whatnot. However, I do have sector and settlement. It might just be settlement and planet. I think it's planet and settlement maps. Actually, I have my let's see here real quick. Yes, settlement and planet forms, which I have posted on Reddit. If you search the channel name and Ironsworn, it should pop up. If you want a more expanded settlement sheet, kind of closer to what these have, with just more spots for notes and bigger spaces. There is a standard sheet in the book that you can print out and stuff. However, I have terrible handwriting, so trying to fit a bunch of little tiny notes into small spaces don't tend to work for me. So I made my own kind of sheet just with Word and using the table functions and stuff. So that is out there on the internet if anybody else would like something like that. However, let's get back to this game. If we recall, there were some not so great people looking for this settlement, or potentially this settlement. There could be another settlement on this planet, but I doubt it. When we came in, we saw a group of colorful pirate types, and we saw some of those people, we think anyway, at the edge of the vault. They were at the edge of the sanctum trying to get in, and we went around and found another way in. However, they could be causing problems within the settlement, which sounds like something we should ask the Oracle to start out with. Well, let's do it correctly. Let's begin the session, which honestly we have done. In addition, you may spotlight a new danger, opportunity, or insight. This can include a hidden scene from your character's perspective. If you do, envision a brief vignette, and then all players take +1 momentum as you return to play from the viewpoint of your characters. I don't think we necessarily need to do that. What even is our momentum at? Oh, our momentum's at 10. We really don't need to do that mechanically. So I'm not going to worry about that mechanically. However, I think we should ask the Oracle, and I'm going to say an unlikely chance. We're going to roll and see, because they were doing some sort of like initiation ritual, and now I could see them causing problems for the community, or at least within the community, after that is done. So it could be one of those things that they come here every once in a while for this. But it's one of those where it's like, yeah, they might get out of hand, but they also might have other stuff to do. So we're gonna say that it is an unlikely chance for them to be of issue, and we can maybe just leave, hopefully. So they are causing problems. So I believe there is a settlement trouble. Let me take a look here. Wrong screen. Let me just pull up here what those oracles look like to see if that's what I want to use. Settlements. Yeah. All right. So there's a bunch of different options, so this could be fun. So Ash and Vander make their way after taking a few minutes to relax and, you know, be thankful to be alive after what was a really very successful mission, all things considered. It did not go nearly as bad as I expected it to. So you know what? Before we roll this settlement thing, I think we can do another hearten. Yeah, we're gonna try to heart because our spirit's pretty low. Our health and supply is also fairly low. But Ash has been running on pretty high. Ash has been running on pretty high stress lately. So last time we tried to hearten, it didn't work that great. But it's hearten says when you socialize, share intimacy, or find a moment of peace, roll plus heart, and then you might be able to take your spirit up a notch. So let's see here. Let's bring up the dice roller. Heart is pretty good. Not as good as our wits, but it is good. So let's see what we get here. Trying to heart as we take this, as Ash and Vander take a minute to sit. And it is really peaceful, especially Vander might have had moments like this, you know, out on a more secluded planet with a smaller settlement, but Ash comes from this big capital city type place where everyone's always got that hustle and bustle moving about, and they're all kind of cramped in the former capital ship because the planet isn't super livable for humans anyway. There is plenty of life back home, but not a lot of opportunity for humans just to comfortably spread their legs, so to speak. So finding this, you know, stream on a little forested path outside of town, they can still hear like probably the distant sounds of the capital city, but this is This is probably a lot quieter and more calm, sitting and listening to the bird's song and the flow of the water and the wind through the trees. Just relaxing for a minute. Oh. And how relaxing is this? Not relaxing at all. Boy, that's bad. On a miss, you take no comfort in the situation worse than to pay the price. So... Okay. So... I had to take a minute to think about this. We got a miss on Harton, which says you take no comfort in the situation worse than to pay the price. So let's look at pay the price. We can ask the Oracle for inspiration, make the most obvious negative outcome happen, or roll on the table below. What I think happens here is that a certain group of space pirates, I can't remember if they were officially pirates, but they're less than upstanding space citizens are going to come walking down the path just as Vander and Ash are getting ready to get back on their way. They took their time, they tried to relax, and after washing up a bit and calming down, I don't think Ash could get into the relaxing mood. Maybe in fact it is too calm out here. Maybe Ash needs the hustle and bustle of the city, or at least the comfortable protection of the reinforced hull of his spaceship to truly relax and to raise his spirits. What definitely isn't going to raise his spirits, however, are the sounds of a handful of people who seem rather frustrated. Can't really make out. I don't know if you guys heard that. Sir, I am trying to do something. Okay, now where was I? My fur child so rudely interrupted. But yes, so Ash and Vander hear the voices of a group of people coming down the trail from the direction of the precursor site. They're frustrated, but they aren't close enough to really make out quite what they're saying. We could try to avoid this conflict. I think Ash would rather avoid this conflict. He's already talked his way out of it once. I don't think he could do so again. So what we're going to do is, I think they're going to just hide in the bushes and try to let them pass. Now, there's a chance this will work, but probably not. Yeah, let's just roll for it. As Ash and Vander quickly crouch and conceal themselves in the undergrowth off the path, but close enough that they can observe or be ready if they were to be discovered. Ash, being a melee combatant, definitely wants the ability to jump quickly into conflict should it arise, and if he's stuck, pinned down, with people shooting at him, it's not a good time. It's not going to be a good time at all. So, they're going to try and let them go past, and we can now hear it's the same group from before that they had talked their way out of a conflict with at the first door to the sanctum that they found, and it does sound Okay. Sorry, he's got the zooming right now, so there may be some background noise. I promise he's having a grand old time. He certainly got plenty of toys for Christmas to keep himself occupied with while I'm recording. But anyway, they are talking about how they're talking about how serious the threats were, that they wouldn't be allowed to join the group if they didn't bring back something from the sanctum. We talked about last time how they were probably being hazed, but they don't know that, and we could be wrong too. It could be a serious thing. However, it's pretty obvious that if anybody did actually get into the sanctum, they probably didn't get back out based on what we found. And so either the people who got in there probably didn't come back out, or most of the people who were sent there probably didn't get in at all. However, if they do spot a lone pair of adventurers, even if they don't suspect us of getting into the cave or the sanctum, they may think that Ash or Vander, especially with Vander's fancy briefcase, satchel, whatever you want to call it, might have something valuable in there. So we're going to try and avoid that. Ash and Vander are going to face danger, rolling shadow. Let's see how they do. And that is a miss. Okay. So I think we're gonna have to pay a price here. It's suffer move. Make a suffer move -1. Yes. Okay. We are going to have to endure harm, or well, I already dismissed the roll, so I don't even know what it was. I want to try to do this anyway. We'll see, and if I need to, I'll burn my momentum on this. I guess I could have burned my momentum to begin with on the miss, but I think I've only could have gotten. I saved the roll. I think I've only could have gotten partial success on it. Yeah, because one of those was a 10, so I could have only made it to a partial success. So endure harm. You can do this whenever you take a hit on any of your supply tracks. So when you face physical harm, fatigue, or injury, suffer -1 health. Or, suffer an appropriate amount of health, I guess I will summarize. Then if your health is 0 or you choose to resist the harm, roll plus health or iron, whichever is higher. They're both 2, so I will just roll with iron because it's easier on the sheet. So yeah, that's it. So let's see if he can resist the harm, because I think they're just gonna start shooting when they see they're gonna see Ash and Vander crouched in the bushes and see Ash as a threat and just instantly start blasting. And a weak hit. On a weak hit, if you are not wounded, you may lose 1 momentum in exchange for 1 health. Otherwise, press on. I think I will take that trade. I will go down to 9 momentum and up to 3 health. And then we're going to need to roll to enter the fray. It's this stuff here. So, when you initiate combat or are forced into a fight, envision your objective, give it a rank, and if the combat includes discrete challenges or phases, set an objective with a rank for each. So, progress now. Fancy cleared out one. I'm going to set it to dangerous. And I'm going to say, me as I reach over, my cat types this. No, don't leave. Viewers, okay. I'm sorry. I distract you and ruin the balance. Anyway, yes. So defeat or subdue the pirates, because we don't necessarily have to kill them. Ash does like to talk when he can, so Ash may find a way out of this. What are we going to roll with, though, is the question. Then roll to, so you set the objective, give it a name, we've got there. So roll to see if you are in control. If you're on the move, use edge, facing off against your foe. Roll heart, in the thick of it at close quarters. Roll iron. Preparing to act against an unaware foe, obviously not, that's for shadow. And then caught in a trap, for sizing up the situation. I'm gonna roll plus edge. That seems the most accurate, because he's trying to get into combat. I said he wanted to I said he wanted to be able to easily get into combat, but being on the back foot initially, this roll will represent how well he did this. If he can get into melee to mix it up in close quarters, or if there's just such heavy suppressive fire that he's going to have to back off and try to take this from range, which he can do. Vander can support him, but we'll see. We'll ask the Oracle what Vander does. I think there is actually a specific combat action Oracle we can roll on. So, entering the fray, rolling plus edge as Ash tries to close the distance. Can he, in fact, go the distance? And he can with a strong hit. On a strong hit, take both +2 momentum, and you are in control. So that puts us... No, that was -1. We need +1. Back up to 10 momentum. And we are in control. Let me just check my sword stuff real quick. So when you clash or strike in close quarters, add +1. On a strong hit with a match, mark progress. Okay. So remember, we have that. We had a +1, which we're absolutely just going to strike. We're going to strike. We're in control. We're going to assault the foe at close quarters and to roll plus iron. And we get +1. +1. So we're rolling +3. Just to set an initial, try to tell them to, convince them to back down. We're going to do a show of force, rough them up a bit, pull the sword, maybe give them a couple of cuts, just to show them what they're dealing with, hopefully, and then see where it goes from there. That is a weak hit. Okay, so on a weak hit, you mark progress twice, but you expose yourself to danger. You are in a bad spot. So I'm going to take that. So on a weak hit, we mark progress twice, and now we're in a bad spot, which is when you're in a bad spot and take action in the fight to avoid danger or overcome an obstacle, envision your approach. I don't think that's exactly what I want to do. Gain ground? No, that's when you're in control. So clash and react and fire. I think what we're going to try and do is I'm going to use a face danger. Because they're obviously, so Ash charges through the blaster fire, ducking and weaving, pulling his sword, and just jumps right into the middle of it, punches someone, kicks out somebody else's leg, gives someone a nasty cut on their arm, but he's quickly surrounded. They back off. He's turning this way and that, trying to keep all of them in his line of sight at the same time. He's very much in the vein of a cornered animal right now. And before I do this, he is going to try and parlay. But like I said earlier, there are just have to find it. Miscellaneous? Combat action. So I'm going to roll the combat action oracle to see what Vander is doing, because Vander is not an official asset. They are not bonded to us. They are just a connection right now. So really, I don't think I should control what they do directly. I'm gonna let the dice decide how Vander reacts to this, because we haven't seen them in actual, like, participate in combat. Any combat that we've had has been around them and they've reacted to, but we haven't seen what they actually do. So let's find out what their instinct is when Ash jumps into the fray. Perform a feint or a trick. Okay. Okay. So where was face danger? So he's gonna face danger. Ash is going to try and a mixture of command and sociability here on the heart side of things. He's gonna try and calm the situation down. He's reacted to their fire, and now he can actually take a minute and be like, all right guys, let's calm down. We went about our business peacefully before. We can just keep going about that business. I don't think any of us want trouble here. I understand you guys have something going on, but we've got nothing to do with it. However, I am capable and I will defend myself if you continue to press this. So please just relax and we can both go our separate ways. I'm gonna give I don't know if a bonus. See, I'm not used to this system quite yet, so I don't know if a bonus is appropriate. But while Ash is doing this, Vander has snuck around and is continuing to sneak around, breaking the occasional branch, rattling bushes, doing their best to make it look like several other people are actually in the bushes and that they only spotted like the two of a larger group. So they're all getting a bit touchy. And we'll see how this turns out with rolling heart to face danger. A weak hit. I'm going to burn my momentum here. It might not be the best idea, but we are going to get some of it back. I'm going to burn my momentum to turn it into a strong hit. So on a strong hit, you are successful and take +1 momentum. So what I'm going to do is we're going to take that. I'm going to mark progress on dealing with these guys. And I'm also going to say that Ash is in control of the fight. So we're going to take decisive action. Now, this is not great odds. When you seize the objective in a fight, envision how you take decisive action, and then roll the challenge dice to compare to your progress. So, we are in control, so results count as normal. we're at 6 out of 10 progress. We've marked progress twice on the dangerous, so that gives us 2 boxes per progress mark. So we'll see if this is basically, Ash can see them starting to waver. They think they're maybe surrounded, and he's giving them an out after showing that he can hold his own if they let him get in close. So this roll will pretty much represent as Ash kind of stands, he's gonna stand straight out of his combat stance. He won't put his sword away, but he'll lower it. Basically, he's doing the I'll put my gun down first and let you guys put your gun down, and then we can all take a step away, and then a second step. He's giving them the chance to take that step away, or decide that they want to continue this fight. So let's see what they decide on a progress roll. A weak hit, nothing we can do about it. So on a weak hit, you achieve your objective without cost, but not without cost. Roll on the table below or choose one. If the fight continues, you're in a bad spot. I'm gonna say that others won't forget. I'm not gonna roll for it. I'm gonna say you are marked for vengeance. Which means we're gonna have to make up an official faction here. So first off, I'm gonna delete this progress. I know how to do that now because I took 2 seconds to look at the whole screen that's been in front of me these last 11 episodes or so. But what do we need to do? Or what's going to happen here is they are going to go. They're going to take a step back, put their guns down. Ash will make a show of putting his sword away, stepping back into a bit of a gap they leave for him. And he's going to spot where Vander last was and start heading that direction off the path, letting them take the path back to the city where their ships are. He's going to take a roundabout way, and Ash will regroup with Vander. And you know what? I'll make a note for these guys. I think I'm going to do that off screen for the faction, so we can reveal that more as their what's the word I'm looking for? More as their presence gets known. I may have determined some details. I'll have to go back and watch the initial video of getting to this, just to see if I determine anything more than what they were doing just on this planet to get their, their greater goals and whatnot. But Ash will be remembered in this group's mind. But for now, Ash and Vander are going to regroup, and when Ash approaches them, Vander will stand up out of the bush they were shaking and kind of look at the empty pathway and just go, well, that was tense. You handled it well. Yeah, that's why I don't like dealing with those kinds of groups. I always think they need to prove something to somebody, whether it's to you or their higher ups. Thanks for the help. I think you put a little bit of fear into them, helped convince them that it wasn't worth the trouble. But we'll take the long way back to the city, give them a chance to get back to their ships and get out of here. Hopefully, and they won't cause any more trouble. which we know is probably not going to happen. Ash and Vander will take, like as Ash had said, a circuitous route through the woods back to the main city, and it's not that hard. I'm not gonna make them roll for an expedition or anything, as they're really just going back to the city. But we did roll that these guys are gonna mess some stuff up. So let's find out what kind of trouble, and let me get go back to the proper place. Felicity. We'll test this real quick. But let's see what kind of trouble they're having in Felicity. Now, this could be unrelated. There is trouble. I think I rolled earlier that whether or not the pirates are involved or are causing trouble, but I'm just gonna we'll change that to the settlement's in trouble, and if it's applicable, we'll have the pirates be the cause of it, if it makes sense. An impending natural disaster. That is uncomfortably close to home, actually. Actually, I want to see if I select the city we already have, can I just use the save button to add the trouble to it? No, it adds a new one. Okay, so we'll delete that. Let's type it in by hand. Would have been nice, but it is a free website, so you can only ask for so much. They have delete buttons, which I didn't think they had, so it's already good enough. But yeah, just to as it is poignant in this moment, I hope everyone is staying safe. It is, if you're listening to this in the future, it is January 23rd, 2026, and the whole bunch of the United States have an impending weather situation. So those of you who are going through it right now when this video comes out, I hope everyone's staying safe and staying warm. Don't forget to do all of your cold weather prep. I'm from up north, so I'm not too terribly worried, but I know a lot of people, I have friends down south and stuff that are preparing to go through it. Pretty rough. Let's see my weather app. I'm at 0 degrees right now. Our low is -7, and the feels like temperature is -15. So it is very cold out there. So please, everyone, I hope you're staying safe, and I hope that I can do a little bit to keep you company through these trying times, and then we can all get through them together. Now, Felicity, however, I think is not going through a freak cold snap, as we have not described it as winter. But what we have repeatedly described is the flooding. We've talked about how the area and the caves and stuff flood and then recede back in. So I think what's happening is that some people have clocked that a large, maybe not full-on tsunami, but a flood is going to come in, and the flood in and of itself has its problems. However, I think the bigger danger is that dangerous fungus that comes with it. Considering it's hard for most people to differentiate between the two types, I think making sure to keep your home or your place of business or your local community areas dry and free of it, probably a big deal. So when they get back into town, Ash and Vander see that people are rushing about. It was Did we determine this was a capital? Yeah, thousands. So this was definitely a bigger town, city. I'm not sure what uh, differentiates between settlement sizes other than, you know, population. But this is definitely one of the bigger capital ships that came and settled down here. Now, what they're rushing about putting down, you know, sandbags and boarding up windows, reinforcing the glass. They don't really know how bad this is gonna be. And they're going to they're getting ready. This seems like no one's really in a panic. They're just in a hurry, and they're going about it like this is common enough that while it might be dangerous, this is mostly precaution, and a somewhat regular occurrence. This is not something that needs to be what's the word, like stopped. So I don't think there's really a move we need to do here. The only thing I can think of is our supply, but I want to really risk rolling for it. So here's what I'm going to say happens. Ash and Vander get back into town and see the people doing this. They're standing on our main roadway, seeing people fortifying their buildings, at least the lower levels. Just, you know, waterproofing, putting boards and sandbags and stuff around the doors and windows, and probably some bigger stacks of sandbags and whatnot on, like, four-wheeler trailer type things being taken to the edge of the city to try and divert some stuff. They may even have some ditches and whatnot built on the outer edges of the city if this is a regular enough occurrence to avoid that. But Ash and this isn't Ash and Vander's problem. They're looking around at all these people, and they look towards, like, the docks, I don't know what the word appropriate term would be, but the parking lot for all the spaceships. God, I feel like there's a word for it and I just can't remember it. Like, the docks aren't really right, but then landing pad isn't really right, but you guys know what I'm talking about. So they look at, and they can see the Stellar Hawk. It's a little bit bigger than most of the other personal ships, and they can see the brightly painted, super vibrant ship of the pirate crew taking off and getting out of Dodge now that they've heard about this impending danger. And Ash and Vander really could do the same thing. These people probably are going to be mostly okay. This seems like something they endure on a regular basis. But I don't think either of them would be able to really do that. I think they're going to lend a hand. They're looking from the people to the ship to each other. And then over Vander's shoulder, Ash sees an older gentleman struggling to hold a board in place and nail it in place, trying to protect this little, just tiny corner shop that is probably all this guy has. And Ash nods to him without saying a word. The pair will walk over and gently take over the task, borrowing the man's hammer. One of them holds the board in place and the other secures it, and they will just go about this mostly silently, Um, sometimes splitting up to help individuals, sometimes working together on a bigger section. And I don't think they're going to stay for the whole time and do the whole thing, but they're going to help what people they can easily see need immediate help, so they can then go and help others and start that kind of snowball process of what was already really happening, but just on a quicker scale of, you know, you help one person so they can go help another person, and then those two can go help more people, and so on and so forth. And I'm going to say, in exchange, they don't ask for this, they don't expect it, but a few people give them enough stuff here and there, a couple, maybe a bit of credits as a thank you from a shopkeeper, some leftover food, rations that someone had, maybe actual leftovers of whatever home cooked meal a family was getting ready to pack away before this call went out. Just, they're going to get enough of little bits and bobs here and there to raise the supply up from 3 to 4 in exchange for that. And then seeing that they've mostly done what they can do, unless they're going to like fully commit to really dig in and try to help everyone here, it's time to go about on their own business. And they return to the Stellar Hawk. And Ash, as he's going through his takeoff checks, Vander goes into the workshop to secure their case for in some sort of locker for takeoff, to make sure all of the sensitive new technology that they've gotten is safe for the what is usually a bit of a violent doing. From what I understand, leaving atmosphere is not the most gentle of processes. And this check is routine. It's muscle memory more than actually going through stuff, checking things. The only time something is notable in the pre-flight takeoff is when, you know, a new alarm goes off. The Ash finds himself humming along to that music that echoes through the halls just barely within hearing, as his mind wanders to what he should do next. His body is on autopilot, and now the hard decision is presented to him. Because he has some choices. He has to, as our background vow states, bring justice to the Scarlet Shards, but he's not sure what that means anymore. Vanderbond was a mark. They were a person of interest who was supposed to be useful. And now they're getting close to being a friend. In fact, maybe we need to determine that now. I like having this chance of failure here to see where this might go. Ash has broken a bit out of his reverie, thinking, does he return back to base and turn in this information and try to convince them? Or does he stick with Vander as their arrangement states now and see what they can discover together more? They have technology to analyze. They have a map of important places that they can go within this old empire to find out more. And Ash gets pulled out a bit from his contemplation as he hears Vander pause in whatever they're doing deeper into the ship to have a coughing fit, reminding him that they have their own things to deal with. They have to cure this mysterious infection, and he knows that they'll be treated well enough. There's nothing that they are going to be able to do for themselves while they are in captivity. So let's see. What is it appropriate? To forge a bond. When your relationship with a connection is ready to resolve, roll the challenge dice and compare to your progress. On a strong hit, you now share a bond. And on a weak hit, as above, but they ask you for something more first. So we've got 8 out of 10 progress on this connection that we have. I'm going to roll the progress on it, and we're going to see what Ash decides and maybe how Vander reacts to it. That is a weak hit. That is an 8 versus a 2 and a 10. So on a weak hit as above, but they ask you something more of you first to gain the bond and the legacy reward. Envision the nature of the request and do it, or swear an iron vow to see it done. So on a strong hit, you mark the reward on your bond's legacy track. They were a dangerous, so that would be 2 ticks, and then choose 1. When they aid you on a move closely assisted with their roll, add +2 instead of +1. Expand their influence, give them a second roll when they aid you in a move closely associated with either roll. Take +1 and take +1. Interesting. So Ash is looking back down the hallway that leads from the cockpit deeper into the ship, as they are ready to take off. And Vander comes kind of stumbling out, rubbing at their chest, getting, the back to the post-coughing fit, straightening up. And they can see the conflicted look in Ash's eyes as they make their way to their seat next to his and start to strap in for takeoff. And the console gives a little bleep as all of the warm-ups are done. And now it's time to go. So Vander looks from Ash to the console, where Ash will have to put his coordinates in for his first jump. And then back to Ash and just simply asks, so which way do we go next? And Ash has to think. There's a lot here weighing. And on top of that, he's hurt. His ship's hurt. He's had despite this mission being very successful, he's had a lot of very bad, no good, rotten days ever since coming into contact with Vander. life has been nothing but confusing, conflicting emotions as this person has come into his life, and through no active action of their own, simply just allowing their existence to cause mental turmoil within Ash's morals, causing him to question his allegiances. And to be fair, he still isn't giving up on the group that he's a part of. He doesn't think that they're evil. Maybe his specific sector is a little rough because of, one, they're on the edge. They're in I believe it's Terminus is the term. Yeah, Terminus. They're in Terminus. They're in quote unquote settled space, but they're on the edge of it. You can see the frontier from where they're at. So things get a little questionable. And tempers can run high. So I don't think Ash would be willing to completely abandon the life he had before. However, he does think that maybe the way they were going about things is not correct. And he needs... Not only does he need more to prove that they can do more with the resources they've got back home, he needs, and admittedly wants, Vander's help with that. So Ash doesn't have his sword on him. However, he does have his charms. So he will hold one of them up, and he will simply say, let's get you taken care of first. I can report back later. It's not that important that they can't wait. And we will end today's session with swearing an iron vow. And I think this is going to be formidable or extreme. Formidable or extreme? I'm gonna go with formidable. I do want to be able to help cure Vander. When you swear upon iron to complete a quest, write your vow and give it a rank. Then roll plus heart. If you swear this vow to a connection, add +1. If you share a bond, add +2. Now let me pull up the book real quick. Just to see what it says about forging a bond here. Okay, yeah, so more specifically, within the rulebook, it states, envision what they need or ask the Oracle for insight. If you agree, gain the bond. If you refuse or fail to complete the request, the connection is not necessarily lost, although you may need to test your relationship, but you cannot attempt to forge a bond again unless those circumstances change. So by agreeing to do this, Ash gets the bond. So, with that being said, I'm going to add the +2. Not quite sure if that's how you're supposed to do it, but this is my game, and I say it counts. So, we're going to roll plus heart +2 to swear to help Ash's friend get themselves cured, or at least in a better situation. And that will guide our next move. And it's a weak hit. How? I rolled a 1 with a +4 4. I got a weak hit. See, this is what I was talking about. This is where that luck starts to change. On a weak hit, you are determined, but you begin your quest with more questions than answers. Take +1 momentum and envision what you do to find a path forward. So we're gonna take +1 momentum. I'm gonna go back down to Forge a Bond to see what we need here. So I mark my bonds. I mark 2 ticks for a dangerous bond. And then I can either bolster their influence, or I can expand their influence. I'm going to expand their influence. I give them a second roll, and then when they aid you on a move closely associated with either roll, add 1 and take 1 moment. I'm also going to copy this into the notes about them. Roll. I'm going to do a precursor, scholar, and explorer. Now that they've got, switch that to a bond. Now that they've got some more experience under their belt, I think they're going to take well. They've scavenged themselves their first weapon, and they have the knowledge and enough of the wanderlust to help Ash more physically. So just some broad help. I'm going to put that note there of what option I picked for them. So I'm sure I will forget it in the future, but it's there. It's there. They're not a general note spot. There isn't. Maybe I'll just make a quick journal entry about them instead. But for now, we'll keep it there so we can remember. But we're also going to end our adventure there. I hope you all enjoyed this bit of our adventure, a bit of a bridging time to get from the main part of the adventure into the next. A little not as relaxing as it would have been, but they'll figure that out. Yeah, so if you like this and you want to see more, give us a like and a subscribe, and join us in the next one for the next bit of this adventure. I hope you all have a lovely day, and please stay safe and stay warm. And if you're listening to this in the future, hopefully you aren't dealing with some sort of nasty weather causing problems for you, and I hope you are all having a good time. With that, I'll just say, as the pilots do when signing off in this world, stay safe out there.